This is part 2 of Romance in Media. If you haven't listened to part 1, make sure to listen to our previous episode first, and we hope you enjoy.
Let's get into reality television.
Mm-hmm.
I think because this is meant to portray real people and not maybe real life scenarios, but just real people in scenarios. I think this is what's altered and has affected my personal experience with romantic relationships the absolute most, other than film. I think TV shows, yes, kind of, but it definitely really hits home for reality TV and movies from the time I was a teenager and on, or tween and on.
Yeah, reality TV, dating shows in particular, they're just awful. And I'm a consumer of some of them.
Yeah.
And I watch and my jaw just hits the floor. And honestly, some of these shows, like, I feel like either they're robots or I'm a robot, because there's just some kind of disconnect of like, what on earth is happening? Like, how did we get here?
Yeah. And look, to me, I still, just from personal experience, romantic reality television triggers me in a way because there's always a scenario or person or people who are just so incredibly toxic that it just triggers, from my own experiences, the toxicity I have experienced in my real life, where I'm like, I cannot go back to this. I can't even see a portrayal of it, even if it's completely different than mine. Like, it just brings up anxiety for me. So I personally cannot watch reality TV anymore.
Yeah.
Especially dating shows.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, I've never watched Love Island, but I can only imagine what that show would entail.
Let me tell you about Love Island. Yeah, the main reality dating shows that I've watched, like Bachelor, Bachelorette, although I did get into that later. Like,
right. I was into it before you were.
I started watching like halfway through college, and then I stopped a couple years ago because just it's awful for a lot of reasons. But
Bachelor in Paradise,
everything under the Bachelor umbrella, like Bachelor in Paradise used to be like entertaining because there are no rules and it's just like off the wall, like let the people run wild. But I can't watch that anymore. It's uncomfortable.
Again, toxic.
It's horrible. And then the Bachelor and Bachelorette I just don't watch because I just don't like the show anymore. But
I'll say, like, my quick history with The Bachelor. So I used to eat it up as a kid, or whenever I started watching it, probably as a teenager, definitely high school, because I would do watch parties with my friends, and we'd eat it up, and it'd be so like, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then I started to get into more behind the scenes stuff, and it piqued my interest, all the behind the scenes. And I would spoil it for myself because there was always someone spoiling it. And I would be like, this is how this works. I was learning more so of how these shows actually work versus what it was.
Yeah.
And so that, to me, at least broke that. And so I'm able to technically watch it and digest it now because I'm like, oh, I'm sure producer asked this in order to get this answer from Susan. Oh, I'm sure this producer told the lead that this was going on, and they're like, oh, okay, so then they have to go and figure it out.
Yeah, so it's very much scripted and like all producer based.
Yeah, which I appreciate. I can appreciate that.
But if you don't know it, even if you do know it, it's still disturbing.
Yes.
Like, their portrayal of romance, fake or not, is disgusting.
Yes.
Like, it's very, 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 very strange.
Yes. And that's my main point.
Yeah.
So that, in a quick little tangent, was my history. As a viewer, I've watched The Bachelor, and now I only keep up via this YouTube channel called Bachelor Fan Take, and I love it. If you don't want to watch the show, but you are still interested on the ongoings because it's part of pop culture, watch Bachelor Fan Take. They're like literally 10-15 minutes, not even.
As long as the episode should actually be like nothing happens.
No, he reports on everything and has such a funny editing and portrayal of it all.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I'm like, I know what's up and I know who everyone is because of this YouTube channel, and I'd rather watch that.
Oh yeah, no, you introduced me to his channel and he's very funny.
Yeah.
So Love Island, I don't know where I first heard about it or from who, but I watched Love Island for the first time maybe in quarantine. or maybe the year before, but pretty recent.
I
And
think it was quarantine, because then you told me once on our FaceTimes when we were long distance.
I know. So sad.
You were like, do you have access to this show Love Island? And I was like, no, but everyone talks about it.
Yeah.
But then you said it was like every single day.
Yes.
So it's like, what, 60 episodes?
Something 50
for like
40
an
something.
hour?
Yeah.
No. That's a waste of life.
Nothing happens. Like, it's like, you could condense it. If there was a Love Island fan take YouTube channel, it'd be the same thing of like 10 minutes of actual interesting things. The rest is just people on vacation. It is the most superficial show I've ever seen, and that's a lot of reality TV, but it's like next level. Like, we don't want you to for 1 second forget that this show is about looks. Like, it is like, okay, the way that it starts. So they have their 5 girls, 5 guys, whatever, coming to the villa. And I think usually they bring the women in first. They have them meet, they have their champagne. It's very much a game show. Like, it feels like a game show, and they do like games and stuff. But they line the women up, and then one by one they bring the men in. There's a host. There's a lady who's pops in once every 5 episodes when there's eliminations and stuff. But
And that is how dating shows go. The host shows up for the first and maybe the last
and you
episode.
forget about them. Yeah, but they'll have like the women lined up, and then one by one they'll bring a guy, and like if you are attracted to them, you step forward. Like, never talked to this person, they've never opened their mouth, they've never said a word, but like, if you think Jerry is your type, step forward. And then they make it all dramatic, and like sometimes no one steps forward. And then Jerry has to go sit on the bench and be placed with whoever is last, who doesn't get picked, which is always the woman of color. But that's a whole other topic about Love Island. But it's so weird. And one by one, the men come in. So let's say 3 women step forward for Bobby. Bobby then picks which women he wants to be paired up with. So you get paired up with people.
I think I'd break my television.
It's horrendous. Like, you get paired up, and then you just mingle in the villa, and then there's like, they have like little parties and stuff at night, and like challenges during the day, and then they bring in new hot people to like break up the couples and stuff. And then if you aren't paired with someone by like the elimination thing when the host comes back, then like you get sent home, or it's like, it is some weird stuff. Oh, and there's like a cash prize. Like, you win money at the end, and like you split it or something like that with your couple that you've been with. But also, like, I'm trying to recap, like last summer, the US one, I think the US one is shorter than the UK one. They also like had them like video chat with each other's families towards the end, and like meet the parents. They're coupled up, but like this guy came onto the island like 2 days ago. Like, yes, you are spending 24/7 with these people for a long period of time. Of course you can get to know someone, but they just make it like you don't need to video chat your mom for this man that just came in the villa 2 days ago. Like,
Yeah. Did you watch like an entire season from start to finish?
the one like last summer when it was on, it wasn't every single day. Like, they'd take a couple days off, but it's like a lot of days.
Jesus.
And there's this thing called Casa Amor. Like, if this show could get more toxic, like, it would blow my mind, because it cannot be more toxic than Casa Amor. But what they do, maybe halfway through this season, when like some couples are like kind of really established, they separate them. So they send the guys or they send either the women or the men to like this other like little villa thing, and then they bring in, let's say they send the men away, wherever they keep the men, they bring in 5 new hot women to like tempt them and tease them, and they always make those women look like just the man stealing, you know what? It's like, it's awful, like the way that they portray the people coming in. It's like, if you're coming in and you're being cast on Casa Amor, they're gonna make you look a kind of way and make you look like, the evil girl who's coming in to steal Johnny from so and so. And it's like, this is just so twisted and gross for so many reasons. Yeah, then they bring in like men for the women to now like test out and see who stays strong, and then they have them like walk down a staircase when Casa Amore's over, and if they're alone, they still want to be with their OG person. If they come down holding hands with someone else, then they've dumped you, and now like I can see it on your face. Don't watch this show.
I want to.
And everyone, it is there is no diversity in any sense or direction at all.
It sounds like it.
Like there's your token people, and like it's so obvious. It's so bad. I'm exhausted.
Oh my
I've
God.
relived it all. Yeah, and what else? Anything else that makes it disturbing?
For me, the biggest thing for me on these types of shows, like, and I'm just gonna generalize them all together, is the encouragement of comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I was aware of it or not, I think subconsciously it really seeped into my brain to compare way more. And then as a kid, when I grew up doing dance and stuff, obviously you're comparing yourself. That mixed with watching shows like that, where all it is just comparing, especially women, comparing women against women for the grand prize of a mediocre average dude. That to me was like the real trait that seeped into me, unfortunately. That was the hardest, if not longest, lesson to unlearn.
Yeah, like they don't, at least on The Bachelor, like they pretend that like they care about personality, but like Love Island, they're just like blonde hair, blue eyes, my type, she's a bird. Like, okay, like you have low standards, like at least add like something unique. Like it's literal, it's just physical. They don't even pretend that it's not. It's on Hulu.
Yeah, it
so
is.
If you ever have the desire to watch 60 episodes of BS, you can.
No,
but...
thank you. I value my life.
It's like I've like started some on Hulu, and I can't make it through a whole season because it's like it just doesn't end.
I was gonna say it's a lot. It's 60 hours.
Something like that. I don't know if they're a full hour, but regardless, it's too long.
Yeah. Well, on a mutual show we did watch, but I not finished, is Love is Blind. Well, okay, I skipped around episodes the first season, and then I have not seen the second one at all. But I know who the players were because I knew it made such a ruckus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because of toxic individuals making the entire experiment or the entire premise of the show, yes, very dramatic and juicy, but not in a way where I think that's like juicy things to be fulfilled by.
Yeah, the Netflix reality shows like Love is Blind, The Ultimatum. I'm not even going to talk about Too Hot to Handle. Don't watch it. It is like, I would recommend watching 60 episodes of Love Island before you watch one 10-episode season of Too Hot to Handle.
Cool. Okay.
If that tells you anything.
Oh, God.
But yeah, Love is Blind. What to say?
I think it's a really cool experiment just for the sake of like it hasn't been done before, I don't think. And I do enjoy like it's the complete opposite. You are trying to fall in love with the personality versus the physical. Mm-hmm. Typically in real life or just in general, like you see the person first and then get to know them. Mm-hmm. So I actually enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. But as they figured it out afterwards, or even while they were still blind and haven't seen each other yet, it's like, you clearly aren't vibing. Why are you settling? Yeah. You know, I get it. You want to be on this TV show, but like...
Yeah. The Ultimatum,
I don't even know what it's about.
It's another just really awful portrayal of what love is or should be, in my opinion. And it's just so unhealthy. It's these couples where one wants a ring now, and then the other one either doesn't want to get married or doesn't want to get married right then. But it's called The Ultimatum because apparently someone has given an ultimatum. I don't even know if that's true or if that's just like how they wrote it or whatever. But regardless, they all like swap couples and like spend a few weeks living together, but they all still see each other, so you still like see your actual partner and stuff. It was kind
of coupled up with somebody else.
Yeah, like yes, it was like it was kind of hard to follow like what the rules are. Let's say the 10 of them, all 5 couples or whatever, like hang out together. But then when they leave, you go with your like new pretend boyfriend and like go sleep in bed together and like have dinner and like
no,
act like a couple.
No, absolute no. Like you kiss and everything.
Well, if you want. Like a couple of them were like kind of physical, but a lot of them either weren't or weren't until like later on. But yeah.
I'm gonna throw up.
I know.
Look, okay, again, I see why that's juicy. I see why that's dramatic and interesting and all of that. But again, at least for someone who has been in not so very happy situations in a romantic partnership, no, just that would have no,
like
that does not solve problems.
I know. Yeah, and it's not meant to, like,
obviously,
like
like I
said, Netflix dating show, but
yeah.
It is just horrible to put out there at all that, like, first of all,
the messaging of that.
Yeah, like feeling like you should have to give the person you're with an ultimatum, like that's hurtful all around. And like that just sounds like it's not in the right place to get married yet if you have to like put a knife to someone's neck and be like, ring today or you'll never see me again. Like,
or the opposite, the person feeling pressured and not feeling yet ready, but like maybe they're unwavering of like, no, you are my person, but like maybe we're just not at that step yet.
Like, I just don't want to plan a wedding this very moment. Like, it's just a really bad, everything about it. And Nick and Vanessa Lachey are also the hosts, like, from Love is Blind. And like, you never see them. Like, that show doesn't really need a host.
You know what? Cash that check, honey.
Like,
I'm about that.
Like, wow, you got Netflix wrapped around your little finger. But they like swap, and then at the end either stay with the new person or get back with their original partner or like leave with no one. But it was strange. It was uncomfortable. It just felt so much like a science experiment. It was like, how far can we push humanity with these weird rules in this weird show, in this weird little ultimatum bubble? But they were also still like going to work and stuff. Yeah. Another one, don't watch it.
Great. Because I already don't watch any of these shows anymore unless it's perfectly recapped for me in a hilarious way.
Because half of them didn't really want to be there. It was like one partner clearly wanted out or something.
And like, look, when you're casted, whether you're playing it up or, you know, just giving the producers what they want for the sake of getting your social media following up. Look, I have no qualm against that. I really don't. I know that's like a hot topic, but like, get your bag how you get it. However, know the consequences of playing it up like that. Know the consequences of having that type of reputation right after you film a show like that.
Yeah, like a lot of it is like, seems very traumatic. I don't know, and to like air out your relationship like that, whether it's all real or not, like I know it's a reality TV show, but still, like, these are real people.
Yeah. Anyway, reality television. And then I guess a more like dating competition show is Real Housewives. Seeing all of the wealthy couples and all of their partnerships, I find also very interesting. Here's a dose of like freshness and loyalty, but also like, I will never take someone's husband yelling at me and cursing me out because I did his wife dirty.
The Real Husbands of Beverly Hills. Like, what have their lowest and highest moments been?
Well, Lisa Vanderpump's husband is very rude and mean a lot of the times.
When he yelled at Kyle, like when Lisa and Kyle like
broke up,
like there's a way to stand up for your partner without verbally abusing someone, especially someone that you've had such a long friendship with. He was terrifying when he's yelling in their beautiful, beautiful kitchen.
Yes.
Either like Lisa can handle it or like speak to her like a person.
Yeah, right. Like, you could be stern and have like a very serious tone, but in my honest opinion, like, I'm not here for yelling. No. I'm obviously not here for verbally, you know, going after somebody verbally about things outside of the problem.
Yeah.
Like going after looks or, you know, what a background, whatever. I don't think yelling is a productive form of communicating and hashing out problems.
Yeah.
It's going to be uncomfortable regardless. Why make it vile? And I thought their breakup, because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought their breakup would be a lot more emotional and a lot more like, I just think it's best if we're not friends, you know?
But it was so angry.
It was so angry. I think there's also a way to be angry and productively communicating, especially with the Real Housewife or Real Husbands of Beverly Hills. And from season 1 or 2, whenever Brandy was on it, and Adrian as well, whenever Adrian and Paul were still married, Paul was awful to Brandy. I'm not a fan of any of them, really. I think I do not like Brandy's character. I'll say character.
These are all characters. We don't know these people,
right? But Brandy was very much, in my opinion, verbally abused by Paul the first season she was on, or second season she was on, because she aired out some personal information, and it was still cut from the show. You could only Google it to find out what was said.
Yeah, it's like, that's great that you're nice to your wife, but you're not nice to other people, and that's also not okay.
Yeah, like if your partner, if you're in a straight relationship and your partner is a man and you are a woman and your man is not nice to other women, that is a huge red flag. Huge. And I could see that with some of these spouses in all of the franchises of the Housewives. So very eye-opening. Again, gave me another list to compile of like what I don't want in a partner.
And it is interesting watching a completely different age group, because most reality dating shows and just like TV shows that we've talked about are about young adults or teens. And so I do like watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills when they are like 40s, 50s, 60s. And these are real adult couples. And they even go through some crazy stuff. But it is nice to just get a different dynamic, and like a lot of them have kids and some of them are grandparents, and just to see like the reality, like that life and that age with like the reality TV filter is just new and something different.
Yeah, but the last character I'll really critique is Yolanda. I know she's a fave for a lot of people because of who her daughters ended up being. But if you really look back at the show, she is horrendous. And her idea, and not even just outside of the romance part, which I will highlight, but just her beliefs and the reasoning behind her beliefs, and the way then that, I think, affected her own kids is very backwards, and it's very, I don't know, just not in this century.
Yes.
But in particular, because what we're talking about is romance and media, is the way she idolized her ex-husband. The way she idolized him was just in a way where I'm like, okay. Is
that love? Like it never felt like an equal, like, again, we do not know these people. We don't know their relationships.
Going off of the portrayal from what was edited and then showed.
Yeah, and the point is to talk about it. Like, this is why they create them the way they do, is because it gets you talking.
Yeah.
It gets the people talking.
Like, look at us. I think it's been, over 10 years since that aired? Like, and we're still talking about it.
Yeah, but he was, like, on this pedestal, and she was, like, kissing the ground he walked on. And it's, like, I guess if that is like reciprocated and like that's the vibe mutually of the relationship, okay. But it felt like she worshipped him, and he's like, cool, thanks lady, like got my dinner made for me in my bed already. Like, it was never portrayed like an equal obsession. It was like she's really into him, and he's like, yeah, she's cute.
No. It's just like, oh, this is my model wife, and that's all she's good for.
She is a person, even if she is problematic. Like, maybe don't just talk about your wife like a trophy.
What really got me, Yolanda suffered from Lyme disease, and I think she still does, because I don't think it goes away per se, but at the height of when she was really, really struggling with it, you could just tell like the dynamic of her marriage, at least again from what was edited and then portrayed on television. She even said to her partner at the time, like, oh, I know you didn't sign up for this, like, I know, like, you thought you were gonna get this perky, active, housewife, but like, now I'm just bedridden all the time. I can't even live in the house we live in because it's too far for my appointments, and da-da-da-da. And it's like, are you kidding me?
What does for better or worse mean? That's why you got married.
Right. And I'm just like, was it not in your vows in sickness and in health?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry I got sick. You go live your life without me. Like, why are you married?
Seriously.
That's not even a friend. And yeah, she would kind of be like, almost like apologetic about what she was going through health-wise. And then he'd kind of be like, yeah, I know this is really annoying, right? Like, shut up and take care of your wife. Like, you can still work, you can still have your life, but it was portrayed like such an inconvenience
for him. And that was,
are you kidding?
That was the only time I truly was on Yolanda's side of like, girl, get out. And she did.
Regardless of how her character was, it was truly like an inconvenience, not like, oh my gosh, of course I'll be here for you. I can balance and put some of my own priorities on hold
for my partner,
for my wife.
Yeah. Well, that's that on that. There are obviously other better portrayals from that show of the relationships that these women have. But yeah, that was like a big one where I was like, wow, even when you have it all, seemingly so in terms of money, you really don't necessarily have it all. But yeah. Shall we move on to movies?
Yes.
Yeah, as a kid, again, same as you, Disney Channel really ruled my life. And recently, a YouTuber that goes by Smokey Glow did an entire deep dive of one of the, if you know, Disney Channel original movies, The 13th Year. And I remember watching that movie as a kid and thought like, oh my God, it's so fun. It's about mermaids. It is not at the end of the day. And her deep dive of how problematic this film was, and then therefore what I'm sure is all of those Disney Channel original movies are horrendous, toxic, not real, obviously, not even magical.
Yeah, her video was so funny just because we're the same age, and her take on it as like an adult now was like, I'm sorry, they're 12? Why are they dealing with like adult relationship problems? Like, where's your homework? Where's your curfew? Where's your extracurriculars? You don't have time to be married. You're literally 12.
Yeah.
And turning into a fish. So maybe that should be your priority.
Because you didn't know your mother was a fish.
A mermaid.
But yeah, other more tame films like Princess Diaries and High School Musical, I thought, again, we're a little bit more on the innocent side and a little bit more on like, there were still some parallels and still some relatability when I did watch those movies as a kid.
Yeah, those were more wholesome. And again, still some of my favorites. Princess Diaries, top 5 favorite movies. I love it so much.
Same.
Yes, it was the typical like, oh, frizzy hair and glasses, no boy's ever gonna like you. But there's one sweet boy who sees who you are, and then you straighten your hair and you get contacts, now you're beautiful. Like, that part is like, you know, weird. But just for the story, Lily's brother that she has, you know, cute little thing with, that was very sweet and like wholesome. And they don't do anything, like they kiss at the end with like the fountain and her foot pops. Like,
yes,
cute. Let's leave it at that. Like, it doesn't have to be like the point of the story.
And her foot didn't pop when she did kiss the hot popular guy.
Yeah, got stuck in the net.
So if anything, I was like, yes.
Save that foot pop for the nice boy.
Yeah, or the real one.
Yeah, pop it for a real one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Princess Diaries was sweet. High School Musical, I think also sweet. It's a very like fantasy kind of storyline. Like, you meet at the winter teen ball countdown thing at the ski club or something.
Ski lodge,
like, karaoke, like, okay. And then magically, like, the girl goes to your school. But it was always like wholesome kind of crush vibe. They're singing and skipping down the hallway, like, cute. That was childlike and like lighter.
Like them prioritizing an extracurricular, I'm here for it.
Yeah, and they're artists, they're performers, they're athletes, like they have other stuff going on.
Yeah, like the fact that Sharpay never had a love story.
True.
She was just about the craft, just about driving her pink car in the summertime. and just about being the star. I was like, that is why she is my queen.
Yeah, like she liked Troy, but it even that wasn't
a main characteristic.
Yeah, like, it was part of it. It was relevant, but it wasn't her identity. Sharpay's identity was being Sharpay.
And
love that.
That is the kind of confidence. She, to me, was a Maddie of Euphoria.
Yeah.
She is just there for her and her alone.
Even without having Troy, like, she still knew she was that girl.
Yes, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but it wasn't until my teenagehood and then, therefore, my adulthood. But my teenagehood, I was watching rom-coms left and right because those were PG-13 and I could watch those in the theater.
Yeah.
In the cinema. And so, a couple that really
left a mark.
left a huge mark was Twilight. Oh my God. I know you didn't watch it, and Twilight has made a resurgence right now in this time frame. Yeah, Twilight. I read those books. I watched those films. I owned those films. I owned everything if under the sun with Twilight. And to me, of course, it was the fantasy of it all because vampires and werewolves, but the love story itself did not age well in the slightest.
I'm pretty sure I read the first one. I was not about it. I was like, vampires and werewolves?
Yeah.
Okay. It just didn't click for me. That was a fandom that I was I'm not about it.
See, you were in the One Direction boy band fandom. I was in the vampire Twilight romance novel fandom.
Yeah.
And it messed me up. Yeah, I just, again, the intense, here's the grand parallelness of all of these things that we're talking about. The intensity, the adults' portrayal of children. Yeah.
Yes. Adults playing kids.
And then the pressure to have said intense, passionate relationships, which if you want that, have it. I believe my end all be all will be very passionate and very lovey-dovey and very romantic, but not in the pressurized ultimatum-y and intense way that all of this is portrayed and trying to normalize. And I think that was the main problem with Twilight, with Mean Girls, with even Legally Blonde, Crazy Stupid Love, any of the Nicholas Sparks stuff. It was always portrayed in a way where it's this should be normal. This is normalized. This is what actually happens in society. And my little young brain, not little, my vast young brain is not comprehending that this is not real life. And that was the true detriment for me personally. And that's why in adulthood, I just genuinely, rom-com is just not my favorite genre to read or to watch. And I just genuinely do not watch rom-coms because, again, it triggers me in a way where I'm I don't need to put myself through that.
Yeah.
It's cringy, and I rather see other themes around a love story. And the main example I can think of is this movie called Palm Springs. So good. It has Andy Samberg and this other actress in it, and the whole plot of it is this guy gets stuck in a time loop where he relives the same day over and over, and then accidentally this girl joins him with that, and then now they're both stuck and navigating essentially how to get out of the time loop. And yes, you obviously know they're going to get together at the end, or even not, but the chemistry and the whole storyline behind it to me was this is the rom-com I like.
Yeah.
It's so good and so funny.
I've never been the rom-com queen. Not even princess. For one thing, they all look the same. All of the posters look the same. It's the same actors rotated through. And I'm if you've seen one, it seems like you've seen them all. And yeah, as an adult, I was looking through TV subscriptions and Netflix and Hulu and stuff, trying to look for TV shows to talk about for this episode. And genuinely, I was I haven't seen any of these romantic movies. And the only one that I guess might count is La La Land. But for me, that is not a romance-focused movie.
That's what I'm saying. That to me is Palm Springs, where there's a whole premise outside of the two lovers.
Yes. Even the parts where they do show them being a couple, it is these two are friends. These are genuine human souls that just vibe. I just appreciated that it felt like a normal relationship of like
Yes.
cute, like these people just love being together as people.
And there's still drama, and spoiler alert, they don't end up together.
Yeah.
So it's like, even, I don't know, to me that's even better. I'm like, yeah.
Like they both love their passions so much, and like that is more so the main point of the movie, is them trying to like fulfill their dreams and figure out what their dynamic is together. But it was a part of it, but it was not the focus. And the fact that it had romance, but it like doesn't have to be in the romance category, and like if you don't want to look at it that way, you can completely see it as like not a romance movie at all. Like love it. I love the soundtrack. I love the visuals. I love the actors.
The
like,
dancing.
Oh my gosh. Like just a beautiful film all around.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And that to me as an adult is where I'm at.
Yeah. I think something that bothered me about like all of these shows and movies and stuff is they never focus on the friendship, or like friendship as a foundation, or friendship that grows the longer they're together. It's like, can they also just like hang out as people?
Yeah. Oh, a show I forgot. This Is Us.
Yeah.
You were on it.
I was a dancer.
You were a dancer. And you were actually like really prominently shot.
Ballerina.
That show, oh my gosh, I think is a great portrayal of romance in media, honestly. The whole show, yes, is about a whole family dynamic, but I think all the relationships portrayed there, oh my gosh, beautifully done. Because again, it's not always about the romance, but when it is, it's like, oh, this is a vibe. This is good. This is, oh yeah. Inspo for real life.
Yeah, I think if you could take the romance out and it could still be a good TV show or a good movie, then I'll watch.
Yes.
And I've been on it, but I haven't watched This Is Us before, but I've heard that it feels like you're watching real life.
Yeah, and to me, nothing is too intense in terms of the graphics, but in terms of the storyline, it can get very emotionally deep and intense, but in a way that doesn't feel like it took so much out of me, but rather like, wow, I'm really taking something away and trying to learn and relate and be fulfilled by.
I've heard I'll cry, or I get the impression that it's very emotional.
Yeah. Because of how invested you are to the characters. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Like, this is my life.
So yeah, final thoughts on all of this. I feel like we gave a really good general take on all of this. Like, for sure we can deep dive even more into the psychology of it all, but my brain would hurt, honestly. And I feel really good about where I'm at with romance in media. And I do see it evolving. I do. And I see more, especially in, again, straight relationships where the woman is like more about like finding her independence and self-love and all of that, but is still learning that because she was, you know, mistreated by a guy. And it's like, no, why don't we have the self-love, the independence all the way through, and then finally she finds her match of that sort.
If she wants.
If she even wants it.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to see even more diverse portrayals of partnerships in every single aspect. And I mean every single aspect.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see that be normalized in like very big blockbuster type of movies and TV shows. That'd be really, really cool.
Yeah.
And not just side characters.
Or comedic relief.
Oh gosh. Or obviously like because they're the token whatever. I think that still needs to evolve heavily, but I see it going in the right direction.
I mean, media is one of the biggest influences in our world today. It's important, and Hollywood needs to understand the responsibility and be accountable for what they show to people, because they kind of rule the world in a lot of ways, and a lot of influence and trends, and what people then kind of base their life and their experiences on, what they think is like normal and what they think they should be doing. And a lot of the times it's really backwards and harmful. So they need to step it up, because it's old and it's tired, and it's 2022. So
yeah,
get it together.
Exactly. I feel about romance and media the same way I feel about social media right now, whereas my social media, I've honestly, and I've said it before, I've curated in a way where I feel good consuming it when I do go on, and I feel safe in a way, like as safe as I can, where I won't feel like I need to compare myself. I feel the same way when I choose a film or television show to consume, where I'm like, okay, if this is being portrayed this way, my brain is finally able to be like, that's not real. That's not your experience. It never has to be your experience. This is just one character's portrayal of an experience that like you're just choosing to consume, and that is okay.
Yeah.
So and if I'm able to like clock it, I feel so good about it. But if I do get like wrapped up, invested, and I like lose myself almost, that's when I'm like, let's take a step back. It's an ongoing evolution with me, but I feel good right now with where I'm at in terms of what I am consuming.
Love to see it.
And that is our show.
Thank you, audience. Thank you, live audience, for being here with us today.
Yes.
Yay.
We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Ta-ta.
Sister. Hannah Montana.
Lizzie McGuire.
Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
That is so Raven.
That is so Raven. And Wizards and Waverly Place.
Be good. Good child.
Anyway, we gotta drop that. Okay. Okay, for real.
Yes.
Okay. Got that out of our system. Yeah, so as a kid, what were your favorite shows to watch that you think that you think that I wasn't. I heard.
Sorry for breathing.